Rightio, we're live. Let me put the link in the Discord like usual. So I did just use a random screenshot I had for this thumbnail. So yeah, so I couldn't find a decent screenshot for Jarrell Tornado. So I just wanted to go live and not have to spend like 10 minutes making a custom thumbnail. Right. Hello, Real Smurf. First one in today. So I think what I'll do, I'll wait a couple of minutes because what I usually do is I'll go through all the new features. I'll then have a few people join right after I explain them. I have to explain them again. So what we can do, I'll do some housekeeping in that time. So let's go to the SPC website. I put a post on earlier tagging everyone. But yeah, today is not a day to ignore for severe weather if you're in the US. So let's look at the convective outlook. Day 1, this is valid now. Looks like they've updated it as well. Yeah, I'm actually having a surprising amount of fun with the scenarios. I actually quite enjoy making custom scenarios because it's a bit of investigative work, really. Like, you think you know what happened on this particular day until you try and go like minute by minute. Like, actually, what size was the tornado at this point? What shape? When did that famous photo get taken? When exactly was it during the timeline? Then there's actually a surprising amount of questions to answer about it. Uh, but yeah, let's just do some housekeeping. So, risk area for tornadoes. Uh, I say I'm doing my best here. Don't have the US map memorized, so if I mislabel a state, don't get too angry. I'm doing my best. Uh, so, highest risk area over Illinois and Indiana for tornadoes. We've got moderate risk, that's 4 out of 5, and it's conditional intensity group 2, which I think means that if tornadoes do occur, I think EF3 is the most likely for that. I may be quoting that wrong, but either way, it's 4 out of 5 in terms of probability of seeing a tornado, and then 2 out of 3 in terms of the intensity. So definitely pay attention if you're in the high risk area, but uh, anywhere in this area you want to pay attention to. So we've got what's this? Minnesota, uh, Iowa, Missouri, Illinois. I'm not talking to you. Sorry, my phone's going off. Indiana. Uh, yeah, that one there. Let me have a quick look at a US map. US map of states. Let's just refresh my memory here. Oh yeah, so sorry. Minnesota, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana. Oh yeah, Michigan, Wisconsin. That's the one I always forget about. Ohio. The way so there's a trick to remember which one's Kentucky. I don't know if people have seen this before. Let me just open this in Paint. Right. To remember which state is Kentucky. So let's get paintbrush. Where's my paintbrush? Right. Just need a normal brush. Here we go. Needs to be reasonable size. How do you select the thickness? They've made paint all complicated. The whole point of paint was that it was right. Here we go. So we've got the guy's boot down here, and look. This is the chef's. Look, that's his nose. Okay, and that's his boot. He's got his chef hat here. It's honestly how I remember which one's Kentucky. He's got his chef's hat up here, okay? Then what's he holding? He's got a pan here, and the pan is full of Kentucky Fried Chicken. So that's how you remember. So that's where like his waistband would be. That's where his collar is. Draw an eye and a smile. That's how I remember where Kentucky is. Uh, Well, I'll open the workshop of things besides scenarios. Eventually, yeah. I want to have moddable vehicles and probes again. Just that's a lot of work, which means that essentially nothing else is going to change in the game in that time. So I'll have to do that when most everything else is being done. Yeah, don't dox yourself. You live in Virginia. Ah, okay. Um, so that can be the, I don't know, wedge of lettuce to go with your Kentucky Fried Chicken. Uh, yeah, but that's okay. That's how I remember. I don't know how I'm going to remember Wisconsin. I always forget about Wisconsin. The states I almost always forget about are Wisconsin and Montana, and I always forget which one's Colorado and Wyoming. Um, New Mexico, that's the Breaking Bad state. Texas is Texas. Oklahoma is like all of these are pretty distinctive. Then you got the Dakotas. I guess this has just turned into America from a British person's point of view. California, that's just full of people who surf and say bro all the time. Nevada, that's where like gambling and other stuff's legal. Um, Utah, that is highest density of members of the LDS Church. uh, Arizona, that's just like it's like Nevada 2.0, isn't it? It's just desert still. Idaho, there's potatoes there. Oregon, I think that's where The Simpsons is based. If you limited all the states. Um, Illinois. Um, let's see, how do I remember Illinois? It's got an L on it, so it's on the left side of this little dip. Indiana is in your right hand, kind of rhymes. And Michigan is that pokey uppy one. Yeah, New York, that's where New York is. Florida, Disney World, and hurricanes. Um, yeah, I think that's all the states worth mentioning. Yeah, that's how I remember them. That's how what I think of for each one. Anyway, let's get back to the game. So yeah, just saying, if you're in any of these risk areas, have a way to get warnings, whether it's on your phone, weather radio, having the TV on, radio if you still use the radio in 2026. Um, I'm talking like traditional radio, not what do you call it? Weather radio. That's a good way to get alerts. Just have a way and have a plan as well. Don't wait until you get a tornado warning and you're like, oh yeah, like where should we go now? And obviously be ready to go. Michigan looks like a mitten. Okay, and that comes rhymes as well. You're in a bad area today. Yeah, so I always say when I'm doing these streams during severe weather events, please prioritize people like Max Velocity, Ryan Hall, uh, having other streams on so you're aware of what's happening. Do not let this become a distraction and get hit by an actual real tornado. And like I always said, you don't have to be hit by a tornado for the severe weather to spoil your day. Like I think some of these storms having like 80, 90 mile an hour straight line winds, that's gonna still cause damage to property. If you get giant hail, that's gonna wreck your car, wreck your roof. So yeah, just yeah, pay attention, and if you know people who may not be as weather savvy, you're watching a live stream about chasing tornadoes, so you're probably pretty weather savvy. If you have neighbors, friends, family members who are in these areas who you know won't pay as much attention, make sure you make them pay attention when warnings and things start going out. Anyway, new stuff, new stuff. Let me just pull up my list here. So I've done my first attempt at the Jarrell 997 scenario. We'll do that one first at 2.5 times speed just to keep the stream shorter. If you want to experience the full thing, I'll push the update after the stream if there's no major issues. Uh, drill bit. Oh yeah, I tried doing drill bits. Didn't quite work. Still need some work there. So yeah, I've got drill bits mentioned in my changelog, but they're not in the game yet. Um, yeah, I've also added a setting for the number of rings to load around the map tile that you're on. So defaulted to one, so it would load the tile you were on. So if this is the tile you were on, it would load the 8 surrounding tiles. Now you can do up to 5, so you can have essentially 2.5 kilometers, 3 kilometers squared of map loading around you. It will obviously impact your frames per second, but you'll also be able to see further. The tornado can pick up more things. Um, yeah, somebody suggested, I believe it was Dubs, suggested to let the base of the funnel vary independently of the top of the funnel. So I implemented that. immediately, it's quite a simple change in terms of the logic, but immediately makes the tornadoes look 10 times more realistic. Uh, then I also spent probably about 2 hours last night with the other suggestion. I think it was James on Discord suggested trying to make the map, some suggestions for making the map generation more realistic. I'll just show that now. I tried a bunch of things. It was just breaking the map generator. What I've decided on is essentially before we generate the map, we'd create vertical columns and horizontal rows, kind of like invisible columns where as we're generating the map, because how it works, let's just choose a random tile, like say this one here. You start with a seed tile and you add random tiles which fit to it. But let's say we've got a column down here. What it's going to do is when it generates this tile, if it's in one of these imaginary columns, it's going to prioritize tiles which have a road at the top and a road at the bottom. Likewise, let's say you have an imaginary row along here. For this tile, it's going to prioritize tiles with a road on the left and a road on the right. And if you're on the intersection of two of these imaginary lines, it's going to prioritize crossroads. So whether that's crossroads is just anything with roads on all four of the edges. So a trailer park's a crossroad, an overpass is a crossroad, then obviously your regular crossroad's also a crossroad. And that's what it does. So if I just click generate map, you'll see there's a bit more structure and connectivity to it than before. So it's probably easier seeing if I go on the next step and I just pull these right down. You see we're getting more grids. So a lot more like what you see if you look at like a satellite view of US roads. A lot more grids, a lot more interconnectivity. You don't end up with. We do have these occasional like small islands. I haven't found a way to stop that yet. But in general, if you're on the main road network, you've got a lot of options. So hopefully less off-roading just to get to a completely disconnected part of the map. So yeah, I think the road generation's a bit better. Still not the most realistic, but I think it's better than it was before. Let me just get the chat up. You've got your weather radar. Yeah, max velocity Ryan Hall. Yeah, I know certain people. I guess different personalities. Match. I know some people who can't stand Ryan Hall. I enjoy listening to him. I also listen to Max Velocity. I think they're both great. That's it, as long as you got a way to get that. Yeah. So the Jarrell Texas one's hard to actually piece together. The official sources have like mismatched timestamps and the map's just not great or not that detailed. I actually ended up having to found somebody's post on Reddit who'd done a lot more research and then based the scenario roughly off that. So yeah, let's do it. Oh, hello, Neon. Glad you make it. So yeah, I've been streaming for 12 minutes. I've probably offended every US state and gone off topic multiple times already. But yeah, let's go into the scenario. So yeah, we had the drill bit preview. I'm not going to bother with that. That didn't turn into drill bits. But let's do Jarrell. It's an 88-minute scenario, but luckily we've got time compression. So it's about 35 minutes. So yeah, let's do it. Wait, that's Bridge Creek Moor. I thought I clicked Jarrell. Something's gone wrong with the clicks. Yeah, so I don't know what happened there. Oh, 23 minutes. Okay, we maybe only do 2.5 times. Let's keep the scenario to about half an hour. 1.75 times compression. Okay, let's do that. One tornado. Yeah, we'll almost end up playing the Moor scenario there. One thing I do want to do... Actually, one thing I've noticed, I need to fix this. I might still release the update tonight because it's already in the scenario. Look how light the terrain is. Then if you do this, if you go and then change like cell quality, and then come back... Oh, maybe it was an editor thing. Maybe it is genuinely brighter here. I've noticed the shadows from the clouds sometimes don't come through in scenario mode. Right, where do I want to be? I want to be heading west. Yeah, so this starts off with a very narrow needle-like tornado. And when I saw how good the needle tornado looked, but we could only get needles in scenario mode because it's scripted, so it says it needs to be this wide. Whereas in career mode and sandbox mode, you couldn't have narrow tornadoes because the way the logic of the game works, it decides how how far the funnel comes down to the ground based on its radius. So once it reaches a minimum radius, it would then say it's touching the ground. What I've done is I've changed that logic, so each tornado has its own randomized radius, so some tornadoes can touch down as thin little needles, some will touch down as ropes, others will touch down as wedges, assuming they manage to get up to that speed. So it may be like a large funnel cloud for a while before it touches down. We're starting to get the wall cloud in here. And so yeah, it made me kind of change the whole tornado logic and rendering just based off this scenario and seeing how good just the thin needle looked. Also, map tile rings. Let's push this up to 3. I think we can get away with pushing it up to 3. Let me just check all these. Tornado Ultra, Cell High, Ultra, 12, 60 FPS, VSync off. Yep, I think that's fine. Apply settings and resume game. Wow, look at that spin. Also, I kind of want to be on the sunlit side of it. Yeah, so some of these timestamps I've kind of had to choose because it was like a 10-minute range. So they're 8 minutes past 3. Get a slow-moving needle-like tornado touches down near Prairie Dell. Yeah, so there it is here. We'll see how much that base can vary from the top. I may need to give them a bit more flexibility in how far they can vary, but in testing this, I've noticed that this is more of the shadow side of the tornado. There's not a whole lot of contrast, so I'm going to try and place us on the sunlit side. But yeah, look, the clouds aren't generating shadows. So there we go. This is what the lighting should be like. I don't know why it only does that in scenario mode. You have to change the tornado quality setting, but then after it's fine. So something small broke there when I added scenario mode. I guess let's is that what the tornado is? That doesn't seem right, because we're right next to it. Wait, have I discovered the first bug? Something to do with scaling. Say the tornado's over there when it obviously isn't. Yeah, so something's broken. Since it's a scaled version of the scenario, I don't know why the tornado tracks aren't rendering correctly. That's offset by a massive amount. So, yeah, maybe I won't push the update tonight then. Don't know why this is happening all of a sudden. As far as I know, I didn't change anything with the scenario logic. I think most of these are safe, so we're kind of doing this blind then. Will only include tornadoes from the 1990s or before? No, so I've taken the 90s as like the main decade to theme the game, but there are some ones in the early 2000s, even more recent tornadoes like the 2013 El Reno that I think people will want to see in the game. So yeah, it's not just limited to the 90s. So the shape's definitely correct. It's tracing the right path, just on the wrong place on the map. There's the shape that I programmed in, and it follows what we saw in reality, but it's scaled the wrong way. Yeah, the tornado briefly lifts. I don't know how accurate this is. It's all based on eyewitness testimony, so people say like it lifted and touched down several times. I didn't really want to script that in, so just in the damage path, where you can see it visibly lifted, didn't cause any damage, I've just put one kind of rope out phase, and then it touches down almost immediately again a few hundred yards later. So it's going to lift, and then it's going to touch down again. Let's still try and get on the light side of it, so we'll head south, and head that way. Head south, and then we'll head west. We'll be on the lit up side of it. It'll look better. I can hear the engine. There we go. So we'll warn this town, even though I don't think it's going to detect it. I think the town impacts are based on... I know it's like it's drawing it there, but it's treating the tornadoes if it's up there. I don't know, that's bizarre. It's the first I've ever seen this bug. Long coast observed a funnel widening at the cloud base. Yeah, so we should see it widen slightly up there. Top is kind of difficult to see from this perspective, from this angle. Then we'll see. So one thing added as well, so for scriptable scenarios you can script the multi-vortex parameters of the tornado. So I've made this kind of lift the funnel up and about halfway to the cloud base, and then have two sub-vortices in an attempt to kind of recreate the dead man walking. So we'll see if we get lucky on the stream, see if we get something that looks realistic. Like, you're not going to have like the horizontal leg that was so in the original picture, but we could have a horizontal vortex which creates that effect. But you can't script it in that amount of detail just yet. Yeah, thanks. I wanted to add more variety to the tornadoes. As soon as I saw how good the thin one looked, I was like, yeah, we need to have a bigger variety in the tornado types. So now we're going to have thin, tiny, barely visible needles or ropes. Also introduced an S-bend function to it, so there's a chance we get an elephant trunk tornado as well. Each tornado randomizes how essentially flexible or bendy it is, plus it randomizes how it bends. So some will have like convex bend, some might be more concave, and some might use like an S-bend. So let's say we're here, we're looking north-northeast, so it's about here. So yeah, I don't think we need to really worry about here or here. So look at the timestamp there, yeah, so it's 20 past 3. The next scenario I want to do after this is the 1991 April 26th Andover, Kansas tornado. Like, that's some of the, if not the most famous tornado footage. So when I was talking about like when it almost hits the Air Force Base. Again, I forgot the name of on the last one. And people will know which one we're talking about when it's passing the houses. People will know which one we're talking about. The Duke Evans footage. Well, because there's a lot of footage from that. There's the Duke Evans footage. There's the Air Force Base footage, and I feel like there's must be other footage that I'm forgetting as well. Seam size. Can you make it so that the wall clouds scale with the tornadoes instead of reflecting on the tornado's max size? Oh yeah, I guess I could do that now. Even though I kind of do like having the clue where you see a massive wall cloud and you think, oh, this could potentially be an insanely huge mega wedge. Yeah, maybe I'll hold a vote on the server, see what people prefer. Do you prefer having some sort of indication of how big the tornado can be, or do you just want it ultimately left as a surprise? So I've set 3 rings of detail here, so that's like 1, 2, 3. So yeah, it's loaded a good portion of the map around us here. Yeah, so the thing with the Jarrell scenario as well is like the first like 20 minutes or so, it's just his thin needle which just lifts up and touches down and doesn't really cause much in the way of damage. It just intensifies right as it approaches the Double Creek Estates area, sits on top of it, just churning away, and then immediately after, almost like just ropes out. It's like it targeted that one area in particular. So yeah, I think we can go a bit closer to it. FPS doesn't really seem to be struggling that much with 3 rings of detail. Also, that's the thing with this early phase as well. You got a needle, and it was really slow moving, like between like 8 and 12 miles an hour. So you could outpace it on foot pretty much. Also, sub-vortices have their own wind fields now, so you will get higher readings if your probe gets hit by sub-vortices. Plan on adding better GPU usage. My PC shuts off after like 2 minutes of playing. Most like optimization. So I'm not sure what else I can do to optimize. Like the biggest optimization was making the map tile-based, so that you don't have to load everything in at once. The best thing you do if your GPU is struggling, it's more than likely that rendering the tornadoes in the cell. I'd recommend turning down the tornado quality and cell quality, because look, this is ultra. If I turn it down to something like medium, you don't lose that much in terms of detail on it, but it has a big impact on frames per second. That's why I usually have cell quality on high instead of ultra, because it doesn't really. I might be able to put that down to medium. It doesn't really make any difference. Once you're underneath the cell, you don't see much. Okay, so this is where we need to back off a bit. So the tornado widens rapidly as it enters Williamson County. Yeah, it crosses like this diagonal county line and then just starts rapidly intensifying. And then shortly after this, I think the dead man walking tornadoes photo was taken. Let's warn this town as well. Oh, we did warn them. I think the warning expired because it's very slow moving. Yeah, so obviously if there's anything technically speaking I can do to optimize the game, I will. And with GPU usage, it's mainly the quality of your models. So higher quality models will obviously use more GPU. That's why this originally had like twice as many polygons in it. I was able to reduce it by 50%, and visually it doesn't really look any different. But it freed up a lot of GPU. I thought the vegetation did, but then people report when the vegetation disappears, it doesn't actually reduce the GPU usage. So I imagine it's going to be this, because it needs to use your GPU to perform a fluid simulation. So 3D fluid simulation is already quite intense. And then it's got to do volumetric ray marching on that volume as well. And then it's got to do it for this parent cell as well. So yeah, it's probably the biggest resource hog in the game. It will be the tornadoes, but that makes sense. I want to make them look as good as possible as well, but you've also got that trade-off. The higher the quality of the rendering, the more GPU it's going to use as well. Make it set horizontal vortices are visible along the entire length of the tornado instead of only showing up on the bottom. Yeah, I thought I randomized it so that they could show pretty much anywhere from the bottom to the top. I'll have to check though, because Claude has a way of thinking. Well, I say Claude, that's what I use at work. His Codex. You'll give it instruction, then it'll just add restrictions in that you didn't ask it to. So I may well have like limited them to the bottom half of the funnel when I said I wanted them to appear anywhere. I think about CPU usage. Do you know, if the game use more CPU to take some of the GPU? It doesn't really work like that. So the GPU is best at parallel processing. So things like ray marching to render because what your GPU does, it batches everything into pixels essentially, and then runs a computation on those all in parallel, which is why GPUs are so fast at rendering, where CPU is better at like sequential logic. So it's not, usually it's the other way around. Usually you use your GPU to remove the strain from the CPU, and the GPU can do sometimes do what the CPU does but better, but the CPU can't really do what the GPU does, since the GPU is essentially just hundreds or thousands of mini CPUs. I think when it comes to bottlenecks as well, I think the CPU is more likely to become a bottleneck, because when lots of stuff starts getting destroyed, you've got the destruction physics, which I believe will run on the CPU. This thing's churning towards us. Oh, the Pampa F4, yeah, I definitely want to. So the very first footage I saw of an actual real tornado was the sheriff's dashcam. Was he a sheriff? Dashcam footage as it goes through Pampa, just as it's touching down. Yeah, I definitely want the Pampa one. The difficulty with that again, we've got the video footage, but not a whole lot of detailed maps of like damage at specific areas. Like you can get the damage trail, which shows the start and end points and some intermediate points, and shows the path the tornado took. But it's not like if you look at more recent tornadoes, the damage paths are a lot more detailed, and it shows like where F5 damage happened to F4, F3, F2, F1. Whereas for the Pampa, Texas, you kind of just have the path of the tornado. So what sort of dead man walking do you think we'll see? Yeah, one thing I like about the fun bit of trivia, I say trivia, but as people probably heard it already, but Thomas Grisulis did say that if an F6 video did ever get caught on camera, it was the Pampa, Texas F4. Oh, I think we need to warn the town again. Good thing we're just standing right near the loudspeaker. At different heights for tornadoes. How low the tornado wall cloud is, depending on its height. So I kind of already have that. So wall clouds, the height of the wall cloud does vary per tornado. That is randomized. I can probably randomize the range a bit more. I think it's still quite high, so I could widen that range a bit so wall clouds can be lower to the ground. The CPU usage is incredibly low, really. Ah, I would have thought, yeah, maybe I need to make more use of the CPU. I don't think I can use it to offload from the GPU, but it just means I can add more stuff in, more calculations and stuff in the background. More like game logic. Oh yeah, Xenia, yeah, that was another one which Thomas Grisulis thought could have been an F. Oh no, not Thomas Grisulis, sorry. Ted Fujita initially considered an F6 category when he saw the damage from Xenia. Oh, that was a big power flash. So it rapidly intensifies after crossing into Williamson County. Likely sometime around now, the famous dead man walking photo is taken. Yeah, so I remember Jake Swaggle did a excellent video on like tracking down that dead man walking photograph. And then I went to go and find it the other day, and it looks like it's been taken down. I don't know if there's like copyright issues or something. Maybe I need to go on like archive.org or something and see if it's been archived somewhere. Or if there's like a YouTube archive. Let's see. Are we going to get a proper dead man walking style tornado? So I think with this scenario, it's very slow paced. And this is at 2.5 times speed as well. I think we'll head west. We'll try and get some of that better lighting. Oh no, it's not 2.5 times speed. Sorry, I didn't decide the last second to do 1.75 times speed. Whoa, we just tore that wind turbine up like it was nothing. Yeah, by the way, if anybody's watching this and hasn't subscribed to Swaggle Studios, go and do it. Oh, wow, again, almost a dead man walking to south. We had a horizontal vortex there. And I can see some vortices are trying to form. So this is the moment where you see the dead man walking into Jarrell. Got a horizontal vortex there. You don't have it on your PC yet, so you don't know how much it'll lag. Whoa, look at that. That's a side effect of loading more tiles in than before. Good. I think everybody got to shelter before it hit though, so we don't have to worry. This is making me think I really need to add the difficulty setting for whether you show tornado trails or not, because trying to place this without the tornado trail, I'm having to reverse engineer it. Oh, whoa, that... Right. Let's take that screenshot. I'm going to have to hide the hood really quickly. Oops. That makes like a really good dead man walking thumbnail for the video. Let's see if it does it again. I may need to move from here. This Bridge Creek has horizontals. So the horizontal vortices are still as random, so you can't script those into the scenario yet, but you can script the sub-vortices. There. Does that look dead man walking-ish? Dead man walking-like, I guess. So that's the trail we're getting, but it's supposed to be here. Yeah, so it's making me think about that difficulty, because what I'm having to think here is I'm here, the tornado's crossing here. So I'm having to piece together, just create like a mental model of where the tornado is and where it might head next. But I think there's no other towns in range. The design to... yeah, I haven't thought much about it. The rendering of the tornadoes has got so much more complex. It's so much more complicated than just those simple sliders that I used in the other one. There's so many more parameters. What I'd probably have to do is just point codecs at it and say, look at how tornadoes are currently rendered. Look at this scenario. Like, look at look at this, not scenario, so look at this project, and then update that project. Whoops. I need to add the collider boxes, like the hit boxes for those. And hopefully Codex can piece it together enough to just automatically update the Tornado Design tool. I think it would take too much of my own time to do that. That'll be time taken away from adding features to the game. So maybe I can just point Codex at it one night and just let it churn away. So you'll see it moves, and then what it'll do is come to almost a standstill at when it gets to the Double Creek Estates timestamp. Eventually we'll be able to create custom maps to go along with scenarios, but right now that isn't implemented. The Broadfile and Co. exits Double Creek Estates and begins moving into the Cedar Tree area. Oh, did I miss the timestamp where it moves into Double Creek Estates? So that must have been there where it was almost stationary. Once last still no tornadoes in the radius. Yeah, because I think you're right there, Real Smurf, because I'm thinking in real life, people wouldn't hopefully wouldn't just be like, oh, the tornado siren stopped. There's all this rumbling and crashing and like loud noises outside, but the siren stopped, so I'm just going to step outside blindly. Like, yeah, I think what it needs to do is have a timer and a proximity thing, so once the timer's expired and there's no tornado in range, then people start on sheltering. I think that's just a bit more realistic. Continues south-southwest, still damaging, but beginning its rapid post-Double Creek weakening. Post-Double Creek weakening. That's a bit of a tongue twister. Or maybe I'm just tired. I think we're in the path now because it did turn west right when it started to weaken. But how much better does it look now that I've properly matched the rotation rate to the wind speed? It did used to be like that on a previous update. You've seen that horizontal vortex just spinning around there. It did used to be like that, and then I had one tornado on a stream where it was pretty much all just vertical motion and very little spin. So I thought, oh, let's just add a minimum rotation rate to it. But it turns out the rotation rate added, it's roughly similar to what you see in the Andover footage. I think that's about 15 RPM, when it's like the funnel's churning, and you got those houses in the foreground, the Duke Evans footage. That's what I chose as the minimum rotation rate. Yeah, so we should see its intensity start to fall and start to rope out now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a screenshot of this and a screenshot of this. I'm going to feed them into Codex after this and see if we can get a fix for the Also, I did notice sometimes the mouse stops working after entering the menu. There's a lot of these little state transitions which I haven't got fully smooth yet. Yeah, the thing visually, yeah, it's getting narrower now. I also think we're accidentally in the path here. Let's just back up a little bit. Should I set the ring radius to 5 and see if it actually affects the game at all? I can see much further now. That might help make the map feel a bit more alive, just the fact you can see more than like a kilometre. We've got like barns all the way over there. There's not really any appreciable difference in the FPS with having 5. I think once they're loaded in, it's fine. Mainly just test it as we travel across the map. We'll test it in career mode. With 5, see if we see a noticeable lag as we cross tiles. Yeah, probably should match the wall cloud rate. Yeah, right now it's just randomized. I don't think it actually matches this rotation rate of the tornado. You know, I kind of like them stylized where you can visually see them rotating, even if it's not accurate. Yeah, so weird about this whole scenario, it's incredibly slow paced, and then everything just took place within like 30 minutes. I think wasn't it over like the Double Creek Estates for like 5 or 10 minutes, like continuously? Just moving at an insanely slow pace. It does feel like just that one place was just targeted somehow by the weather. It just kind of came out of nowhere, and then within like 30-40 minutes the whole thing's over. Okay, now we're in the rope out phase. So yeah, this is the Jarrell, Texas scenario. Like I said on the server, it's short and it's very slow paced. I don't know why so many people voted for it. I think it's just because it's famous. You can see where it's gone through this fence here. There's already bits that have been knocked over. But it's famous, and I think we can have competitions to see who gets the most photo accurate dead man walking picture. Almost looks landspoutish there, as you can start to see through it. I wonder if this has anything to do with using the sandbox mode right before going into scenario mode. That's another like weird state transition. Sometimes can cause weird glitchy things to happen when certain variables in the background haven't been reset before you do something else. I put my bottle of water accidentally next to my laptop fan and it was all warm there. Yeah, so that's the Jarrell scenario. It's not action-packed, but visually it's cool to see it go from needle to wedge. Plus you can try and put more of a positive spin on the scenario by warning towns and having 0 fatalities, as opposed to the 27 who were unfortunately killed. Like entire families were killed on that day. I say it's such a tragedy because it just needed to be a little bit further north or any other direction. It just needed to rope out a few minutes earlier or touch down a few minutes later and the outcome would have been completely different. That's what's so sad about Jarrell, I think. At least from my perspective, that's what it's like. A number of things could have gone slightly differently and a lot of lives would have been saved. 27. Yeah, let's return to the main menu. Let's do some career mode. We've got a top 34% of chasers. Yeah, actually, one thing I noticed today, so just reiterating, if you're in Illinois, Indiana, the surrounding areas, make sure you've got a way of getting weather alerts. So I was looking at some of the forecasted storm relative helicity values for the 0 to 1 kilometer storm relative helicity, and they were like 700. I think some of the 0 to 3 kilometers were like 900 meters squared per second squared. Yeah, I kind of understand now. So I think, what is a meter squared per second squared? So a meter per second is just a unit of speed, a meter per second squared is the unit of acceleration. But what is a meter squared per second squared? But it's to do with, it's an area on a hodograph. So if this is your hodograph, so if your axes are meters per second, you got meters per second on this axis and meters per second on this axis. And storm relative velocity is the area underneath. So if you've got an area, you're multiplying the units on one axis by the units on another. You've got meters per second on one axis and meters per second on the other. That's how you end up with meters squared per second squared. I just can't visualize that. It's like an area that's accelerating. If that makes sense. But yeah, I think some of the cape values, I think it's kind of split into two modes. You kind of got like a high cape low shear environment and then a high cape low shear environment. I don't know if I just said the same thing twice there, I'm tired. Oh, I kept hunts enabled there, I meant to disable them. Oh well, good luck to us then. See, so loading into career mode. See, all the lighting's correct, we're all in shadow. I feel like the cells got big very quickly. Oh yeah, we bought a load of upgrades last time, didn't we? I think I need to work on my rescue score. It's only 23. I'm still class as bachelors. We're up to, I think we were like PhD or postdoc on one stream, then I had a horrendous chase, which knocked me back. Right, let's look if we've got any velocity couplets yet. Not yet. I do feel like this map's more interconnected. Like wherever you sit, there's north, south, east and west options. Maybe I'm just imagining it. Let's take this time to configure the probe as well. Let's try and get it carried. So the key thing to get it carried, like, want it carried but not too easily. And then I think lift coefficient, I think in some cases I've had that too high. Let's set it to like 5. There we go. I'll close that tailgate. Also, I bought, there's a new road asset. It just went 50% on sale on the Unity asset store, so I've purchased it. Just, it's going to be a while before I see it in game because I'll literally have to redo every tile which has a road on it, which is almost every tile. We've got the ring detail set to 5. Game doesn't really feel like it's lagging at all. I feel like I need to add even more zoom to the camera. Right, which way are we looking? We need to be looking east-southeast. Oh yeah, we can see the wall clouds starting to develop there. Let's figure out, we've got a more detailed radar now, higher resolution, so we'll place our mouse pointer right in the middle there. I won't move the mouse, we'll see which direction the couplet's moving, and that'll give us an idea of which direction the tornado will be moving once it forms, and we can position ourselves ahead of it. So, I can't tell if it's moving south or southwest. I think it's like south-southwest. Right, let's assume south-southwest for now. We're going to want to be over here somewhere, so I think we'll head west and then south. I want to see what the tornado formation looks like now as well, because that's changed. Right, let's head south. So ideally we want to be looking north-northeast and be looking at the wall cloud. I do feel like the game's lagging maybe a little bit, but I don't know if that's just the motion blur creating that illusion. We wanted to take that right there. I'll continue heading west. Oh, that right. Actually, let's watch the tornado form. Look, got some dust kicking up. Nothing come from the clouds yet, though. Also, it looks like they're just being pulled up like a land spout. So this is our first indication that something's touching down. It looks offset from the funnel as well. See what directions it moving. Wish I had a load more vegetation render there. Actually, it's moving. Yeah, no, it's not moving. It's moving east. I guess I didn't do a very good job reading the couplets there. Okay, let's drive just towards it. That's the good thing with this more connected road network. We've got plenty of options to get on this side. So if we take, we'll just go all the way till we get to the end of the road and take a right. How much more realistic does that look? With that bend in the funnel. I can feel it lagging a little bit. I'm going to change this from 5 down to 4. Just free up a few more resources. I feel that looks so much more realistic. And that power flash looked amazing there. Stream thumbnail. Okay, we've got some towns to warn. I think if we turn right and go along here, we can use the motorway and hopefully beat it to the motorway. Trees are getting uprooted already. It's only F2, F3. It looks like it's moving quite slowly though, so I think we can beat it to those towns. It might even be turning away from them as well. Oh, the vegetation's disappeared. Oh, I think is it starting to get sub vortices in it? Is it going F4 strength? Right, it's a little bit of a risky maneuver, but it'll let us give those towns a little bit of warning compared to like, would have had to go back on ourselves and go around that way. I just feel like going a little bit out of our way, but being able to go 20 miles an hour faster might just get us there a few seconds earlier, give a bit better warning. Oh yeah, look, it's going F4 strength now. We might see sub vortices and horizontal vortices now. This would be a good place to drop a probe. Let's just do a quick deploy. There we go. Right, let's give this town the warning it very much needs. Wow, that got close quickly. Where's the siren? There it is. Yeah, I like it now because I've also changed the coefficients as well, so that we can have they're not just all wedges now. Have anything from a thin needle up to a full wedge, with most of them being rope to stovepipe-ish. Right, we need to warn that town to our north as well. Ricky Gamer, hello, I'm considering to get in the game. Would you say it requires a good computer to run? So, at the minimum, you'll need a computer with a dedicated GPU. If you don't have like a gaming computer, you are going to struggle to run it. You don't need, by any means, you don't need top spec computer. Like, you don't need like the latest RTX. So I'm running this on a gaming laptop. It's got an RTX 4080. So I'm just taking a screenshot here. RTX 4080, and it's an i9 processor. From the discussions we had earlier, it is the GPU which seems to be the bottleneck for the game. So I think if you've got like an RTX 4 or 5 series, you should be fine, but you don't need the latest and greatest. And also Neon, check out, so Neon's in the chat, check out his channel. Neon, is your channel still that one Shindo guy on YouTube? So Neon's done some benchmarking of the game on different hardware with different different degrees of quality settings on the graphics to give you an idea of how it might run on different hardware. So you definitely don't need state of the art, but it's not going to run on like, if you've just got like a generic computer that like universities issue just for like editing spreadsheets, where you've got like a processor, 4 or 8 gigs of RAM, and that's it. Yeah, if you don't have a dedicated GPU, it is going to be difficult to run. Because the GPU is what does most of the work for this game. Uh-oh, I think it's turning towards those towns at the south. Right. Plan, we're going to take this motorway here. Right, we're going to head east, take the motorway, go over that hill, and then one of those towns. How did our probe do on data, by the way? Where is our probe? It's in a bush somewhere. Right, we're going to take that overpass, hopefully it doesn't collapse. Oh, it's going multi-vortex on us there. Yeah, it's turned and gone. Look at how many towns to put in danger all at once. Please make the chance to be able to bend again. They should be able to do this. That's already added. It's randomized per tornado, but the amount of like wobbliness and bendiness to them varies per tornado, so some will bend more. Like, that's already added. That's part of the thing which was new in this stream. Oh, it's getting windy, as it does when you get near tornadoes. Right, well, priority is getting to these towns on time before the tornado gets there. But if there's an opportunity to deploy the probe, we'll take it. I think maybe at the foot of the hill on the other side. Oh, look at all those towns, man. Right. Got a lot of warnings to do. One thing I've been considering is that when you raise a warning in one town, it like warns any town within like a couple of kilometers radius. Just to give people a reasonable chance, because in situations like this, if we were higher level, the tornado would be moving faster. If we had a higher ranking. Alright, let's got an F5. Let's do a quick deploy. I don't want to say it because I know what's going to happen as soon as I say it, but we haven't had a hunt yet. Keep heading south, then we'll warn this one, and then we'll loop back and warn these if it looks like it's going to hit them as well. What does it look like from the probe's point of view? Let's get an F1 samples. Oh, I forgot to change the data type, man. That means we're going to have a load of wind data, but not much of anything else. This town doesn't look like it's in danger as much anymore. It's these ones. See a lot of connectivity options here. Got this road up here, and here, and here. I do think the road network's more interconnected than it was before. Oh, there's some vortex there. So I don't think we need to warn it just yet. It looks like it's turning more towards these. Oh, now it's saying this town is in danger. But it's moving slowly. So if I warn it now, they may come out of the shelter before the tornado hits. Hey, look, we see make the tornadoes bendy again. Look, that's what it's doing right now. Look at it. I don't know if the stream compression's killing it. There's hundreds of bits of debris in the air. Right, let's warn this town and then we'll double back. It looks like it's more heading towards there. Right, you know what? Judgment call. I don't think it's going to hit this town. I'm going to prioritize these towns. I think this one, and this one seem the most at risk. I don't want to waste time warning towns which are unlikely to be hit when there's towns which are obviously right in the path. Right, what I'm going to do as well, I'm going to recall the probe. What we're going to do as well, we're going to do it the old-fashioned way. Okay. Change of plans. I didn't sound the siren right. I need to sound the siren. Now I want to pull it away from the towns. So, escape route. We need to head west towards the tornado. This town might get hit. We're going to have to take the next left. Not this one, but the next one. Wow, that thing is moving. 67 miles an hour towards us. We're racing it to this. I said that town wasn't going to be hit. That wasn't taking into account the possibility of a hunt. I don't think we're going to have time to stop and warn them either. But luckily we can just head south here. Yeah, that's going to undo a lot of the progress we've made so far. But one thing I can do, quick recall, quick deploy. We know the tornado's going to come this way. So let's see. How are we doing on our best score? 164. Yeah, so we've gone from What is it? Oh, whoa, look at that. We've gone from like bachelors to postdoc in like one chase. How are we doing on data? Okay, getting a lot of good temperature data as well. That tornado looks alive. Having the freedom of the bottom of the funnel to move, like it looks alive. Look, you're getting kind of an S-bend in there. Yeah, I did already have it so that the tornadoes could bend more. What I think I need to do is scale it up a bit. So the limits for how much they could bend, I think, could be widened even more than what they were already set to. There we go, it stopped hunting. Whoops. Any more upgrades? Let's get some upgrades while our score is high. We've still got $260,000. I think the max speed on paper road's already fast enough. Let's increase the engine power and acceleration. Sampling rates. Okay, we've spent all of our money. Do quick recall. We've got it right. I'm going to change the data type now, so when we cash in, we get even more. Oops, didn't want to do that. Pick a probe. Yeah, pressure. We'll do pressure next. We're going to go off road. Big power flash there. First time having to go off road this chase though, which is good. Road network, I think, is better, even though that's kind of subjective and based on just this one chase. If we can get to that intersection, looks like it's going to get hit directly head on. If we can beat it to that intersection. Oh no, it's heading south now, heading south. Alright, I think we'll do a quick deploy here and then we'll race it off-road. There's a road there. As soon as we're on the road, we'll be fine. Should we see what wind speed the cows are good up to? Let's see what wind speed do the cows start to fly. What's it look like from the probe's point of view? Okay, again, F2 data. Its multipliers are getting nice and big. The cows are still windproof. 70 miles an hour, still good. $75, still good. $78. I'm just going to get next to the truck so we can drive away when we need to. $81, still good. So cows are more windproof than barns, apparently. Hello, Gruder. Just testing the aerodynamics of cows out here. They got up to 96 miles an hour. Trees are getting uprooted and everything, and the cows are still planted firmly. This is passing right by us. Yeah, let's just give him a bit of a helping hand. There you go. Off you go into the tornado, please. Ah, just disappeared. Okay, we've got some tornado-proof cows. Oh, should we watch this get torn apart? The propane. I'm assuming it's propane. I'm just going to call them the propane tanks. It just says flammable liquid. I was holding the handbrake down. I think we're safe here. We've upgraded the aerodynamic coating on the truck quite a bit. So it's breaking off the handrails and things, but the actual tanks themselves don't look like they're going airborne just yet. Are the servoboats sync the servoboats on the radar? I can't remember if I did that yet. I think it matches the number of them. I don't know if they're synced perfectly yet. Let me just hop out the truck and we'll change this from pressure to dew point data. There we go. We'll just nudge the probe towards the tornado a bit. Then if we stop, that should keep going. Oh, there we go. That's one way to deploy it. I'm surprised that worked, actually. Yeah, you have to send that right when I glance down at the chat. So I don't think I'll push the update tonight. I think I've got a couple of bugs to figure out. Oh, the main one just being why the tornado trail was all offset in the scenario mode. Oh, I think this funnel's tilted quite a bit. Let's see. Yeah, look, the top of the funnel's there, but the base is over there. If you look if this is close, it's like tilted but like towards us, so it's quite hard to tell. What's that over there? It's still standing, whatever it is. That's the side of a barn. That should be gone in a few seconds. Our probe got thrown well off the map. Let's do a quick recall. Yeah, so we'll watch it till it goes off the edge of the map, then I'll cache in my data, which we've got like all 4 data types. We didn't get full F5 data, but this tornado is mainly F4. A couple of pockets of F5 damage there. Oh, F5 wind speed, sorry, not necessarily damage. And then we'll buy some upgrades, and I think I'll call it a night for this stream. I feel like we should be able to hear the tornado from here. It's turning towards us at the last second. Oh yeah, so rather than making them just having a tornado that is very bendy or not very bendy for its whole lifespan, varied over time. Yeah, I should do that because there's other things which vary over time, like how it looks when it goes multi-vortex varies over time. Yeah, I don't see why we can't just do that for the bendiness and the wobbliness of it, because there's two different things. There's a wobble, which is just like if you go from the base of the funnel straight to the top of the funnel, you can offset randomly along that straight line, but then you've also got the actual bend where the bottom of the funnel is offset from the top of the funnel. So there's two things going on there. Both of them together make it look very lifelike. Yeah, so the logic is already there. So thinner tornadoes do bend more than wider ones. I just think the values I've used for how much they can bend at different sizes are just too small and need to be cranked up a bit. So I need to tune that as well before I do the next update as well. Alright, so there's our trail for this chase. So we're going to watch it rope out now. Again, some sub-vortices. Oh yeah, I think it's about to go multi-vortex right when it goes off the map. Right, let's cash in the data. Let's see how much we'll make. $97,000? I was hoping for a bit more than that, but I guess we didn't have the F5 multipliers. It makes a big difference. Let's see, we'll probably still afford some more upgrades. Let's see. Pressure data sampling rate or radar. Let's get the radar image. So let's just look right now for reference. So increase the PRF and the beam angle. Might as well update the frequency as well. We've got more detailed radar images now. And velocity. Yeah, it's about to rope out. See there, we've got the slight S-bend there. I just think that needs to be like 3 to 5 times bigger than what it currently is. Makes the tornado more pronounced and visible. And that's hard because it's kind of contained, isn't it? You've got the wall cloud above and the wall of the funnel. So that does make it really difficult to make it clear when you're inside of it. You've also got the dust particle effects. I think that's that tornado roping out now. So yeah, I'm going to wrap up the stream now. Thank everybody for joining. I'll go live again once I've got those other bugs fixed. So possibly tomorrow night if they're easy enough to fix. I say those bugs, I think it's just that offset, that radar offset glitch. So once I got that bug fixed and tweaked the ropey / bendiness of the tornadoes, I can do a more detailed one. So I'm tired now. It's 20 to 11 at night. I need to be going to bed. I can do a higher quality upgrade or update to the game, rather than releasing it in the state it currently is. So yeah, thank you so much everybody who's joined. I hope you've enjoyed the stream. Keep an eye on the weather if you're in any of the risk areas, and I'll see you all in the next day or two.